Well, it's kind of awkward finishing this whole pentilogy, however you want to put it, on technically the weakest film in the whole series, that being Jurassic Park 3. Happy birthday, Jurassic Park 3, even though I have very mixed feelings about you. But I do need to complete the whole entire pentilogy, or whatever it's called, pentology, something like that. So, might as well wrap this whole thing up, but might as well showcase the positives of the weakest film in the whole franchise, in my opinion, despite what people say about the fifth installment, which I very much deeply care about, along with other people, and seemingly how they do as well. Well, as weird as it is ending on the weakest film, let's highlight the positives and go through my overall thoughts on the film and my problems with it, and just simply how much it changed people's views on the franchise. Not all negatively, thankfully. But I still remember what it was like. The earliest time from what I can recall of watching this movie was this definitely was not the first time, of course. There have been plenty of other times before this time. But one of the more memorable instances of me watching this film was one time on the way back from a trip out west. We were with I was with my parents, of course, and we had brought our godfather, or my godfather, Jeff, with us on the trip. I don't know when this was, possibly, I believe, Christmas 2014 or something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna guess on that. And we stayed at some Hilton resort, or no, not resort, just some hotel. I can't remember the name of the hotel company now. It was very nice. It was like Greenland and Green Meats, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, very nice place. I remember the breakfast, and I remember the huge restaurant bar area, and them having Family Guy and Simpsons on the TV downstairs. But upstairs and all, they had Jurassic Park 3 playing on the TV, and I remember how high up we were and the view and everything. It wasn't anything special, it was just simply nice and comfy. And we had our nice big bedroom with two beds, Jeff on one and me and my parents on the other, and we were watching Jurassic Park 3. And I remember being caught surprised because of the fact that the Ceratosaurus scene, which is kind of random and only appearance of the Ceratosaurus in the whole series, unfortunately. Yeah, I didn't even know that really existed fully, to be honest. It was kind of cool seeing it in person, really, because a certain other thing that I was also introduced to a while back beforehand or so, maybe afterwards. Um, I didn't really know about the Ceratosaurus scene for some reason. I must have completely forgotten about it. But something else about Jurassic Park 3, and it's kind of important to me, is that the very first Nostalgia Critic video was the Jurassic Park 3 one. And you may think that I have a little bit of nostalgia for it and a little bit of sympathy towards the video because of that. But I don't. Even though I agreed with it back then, and I agreed with nearly everything NC said, aside from a few things, I for some reason liked the video back then, and I certainly do not now. It still gets a ton of things wrong, but it's definitely not the worst of the bunch, trust me. There is worse Nostalgia Critic videos out there. The Fallen Kingdom and Magic Railroad ones. But anyways, that's a story I've already brought up way too many times, so let's not keep talking about him. But as for the film, there's a lot of problems. This movie came out in 2001, in the middle of July. This is a popcorn thing that my parents must have gotten. I believe they may have seen the film. And yes, that is an Aunt Jemima thing in here, because we wanted to preserve her thing before she got taken down by all the SJWs and stuff, and cancel culture and crap. But anyways, this time Steven Spielberg was not the director. It was actually a man named Joe Johnston, and he has quite the resume. He's responsible for films like The Rocketeer and Jumanji and Captain America the First Avenger, etc. And he's had major hands in writing and directing, I believe, and those kinds of fronts. So it's not like this is from some random off-brand director who barely has any experience making quality and all. Unlike the Emoji Movie, which was directed by Tony Leondis, which, can you name anything good and significant that guy's really made? Not really, can you? But, yeah, not to mention the fact that it wasn't scored by the same person. I believe it wasn't written by the same dude as well, who's David Koepp, I believe, who's done the first two films. So yeah, going in, you could kind of see why it ended up the way it did and why it's so weak. So, yeah, much weaker than compared to the other two. But the film's direction is quite nice, I must say. And I do like the music and everything like that, though it's nothing compared to all the other films, though. It's something really memorable about it. That, and there's several other issues. The story is rather clunky in places, and a lot of Not really plot holes or continuity errors, really, though there may be a few that I'm not thinking about. It's more so simply things that aren't really established perfectly well, or things that aren't done to their full advantage. Like, for example, Ellie immediately knowing where to go in order to save the group on the island. And I don't mind the whole thing of them not, really getting together. It's kind of like Fallen Kingdom. You'd think that they probably would get together, but they didn't for fairly obvious reasons because of conflicting ideologies. Not to mention, Alan Grant is obsessed with raptors, and Ellie was probably traumatized by her experience being in Jurassic Park, so Alan being obsessed with the thing that probably could have killed her and all, yeah, I don't blame her for wanting to stay away from him in terms of a marriage. But yeah, that was a lot of. Oh, that's definitely a more controversial aspect of this movie, but definitely not as controversial as something else. I'll bring that up later, of course. And yeah, not to mention the whole jarring tone and the lack of a real theme, unlike the other films. And also, there's some other various things that don't really make fully sense, like the whole Billy was right line doesn't really make sense, but I kind of get it. Maybe, you know what my know what my 10 cents on that line is? What he's referring to is what Grant said. Some of the worst things imaginable were done with the best intentions, and Billy said that he did it with the best intentions, and I think that he's referring to that. He's saying Billy was right. He did do it with the best intentions because it had something to do with these beautiful dinosaurs. By beautiful, I mean the weird-looking brachiosauruses, but I don't mind the look of them. A little bit weird and creepy looking, but yeah. Um, yeah, more about the dinosaurs later. A certain one in particular. But anyways, what was I talking about? But yeah, the film is definitely flawed in a lot of ways. But despite that, there are a lot of things I really do like. Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill, still is such an enjoyable character, and him seeing him doing dinosaur stuff and stuff like that is still such a joy to watch. And I do like the other actors, and I feel like Paul Kirby is actually a really likable guy, to be honest. Amanda is obviously annoying and a screamer, but she's honestly a realistic character. And honestly, I don't get it when people say that Zia Rodriguez sucks and stuff like that and knows rants about Fallen Kingdom. She's one of the best female characters of the whole series. Because everybody else is either they're about screaming and stuff like that, like Ellie and Amanda and uh, Lex, right? Yeah. Or they're there to get eaten, like Zara, for example. Or they're making stupid decisions, like whatchamacallit in The Lost World. I can't remember her name now. Why is uh, Sarah Harding. Yeah. And also Claire, of course, is a very well developed character, obviously. And then there's Zia Rodriguez, who is very cool and stood up to the bad guys and stuff like that, and is very knowledgeable and was surprised when she got to see a Brachiosaurus for the first time. So you guys should be praising her and all. But anyways, back to Amanda and stuff like that. I don't mind her for some reason. And man, for some reason that raptor head in the tank scene always gets me. I don't know why. There's a little bit of humor in this movie. Some of it unintentional, and I do like that. But yeah, I also like Udesky. He's pretty dang cool. Billy, I'm not exactly sure about though. The kid, though, of course. What's his name now? I completely forgotten about it. Yeah, I do like him. It's a bit odd that he's able to survive the ordeal for so long, but the fact that he did is definitely an amazing achievement. And honestly, kind of possible, maybe. Who knows? Maybe it's not. But yeah, there's definitely ways as to how, and I'd love to see more stuff about how he survived. And yeah, the whole best intentions scene is such a joy to watch. It is possibly one of the best scenes in the whole film. But as for the actual action, it is a joy to watch. The Pteranodon sequence is creepy and suspenseful and well shot, and the music and the effects and all that good stuff, the acting. I love that sequence, and I think most other people, even people who probably dislike this movie, have to admit that the Pteranodon stuff is epic, and definitely brought forward a creature that people wanted to see properly for so long, and now we finally have. And it's definitely a fan favorite mainstay from this point on in the series. This movie is also introducing so many new dinosaur species and stuff like that, or at least giving them more screen time and all, instead of the usual ones that we see all the time. And that's something a lot of people don't appreciate, especially with a certain one in particular. For those who don't know, with the production of this film, they wanted to go down a more realistic route with the T-Rex becoming a scavenger. And you can kind of see that a little bit in the film with it eating a dead thing, If you know about the behind the scenes, you'll know that it didn't kill that thing. It got an easy kill, which is why it lost. I'll bring that up in a second. And yeah, I praise that. And of course, that can be seen with the Velociraptor designs. I love the raptors in this film. I love their designs. I love the sound effects. I love the way they act. I love the way how they kill and the way they interact with one another. I love the fact that they can track down their eggs so well, which seems very realistic as well. I just love the raptors in this film, and they're among the best raptors in the whole series. Very underappreciated and an epic design, and that's how I like my feathered dinosaurs, to be honest. Like that. No offense to real life dinosaurs, but I just don't like some of the way they look at times. Especially some of the more chicken looking ones at times. No offense. But, anyways, what else? Of course, how can I forget to mention various other dinosaur species? Brachiosaurus, despite looking weird, is cool to see, and it looks very bulky and very humongous, I must say, and I love that. More humongous sauropods, please. The Ankylosaurus, a sort of mainstay in the series from now on after this film, was introduced in this film, even though it didn't do squat, though it was cool seeing a shot of it. Ceratosaurus scene looks so cool, even though it does, like, nothing, basically. Corythosaurus was just, like, there with the paras, and other dinosaurs like the stegos, the paras themselves, and even the trikes, very briefly, all just kind of there in the background in a few scenes. Nothing really to them, to be honest, but yeah, it's cool to see them back. Nothing of the Packies or the Galleys, surprisingly, I've noticed. But it also was cool seeing a little compy scene as well. I tend to forget about that, to be honest. And of course, nothing of the Dilophosaurus, but how can I forget to mention the big scene, the fight between the Spino and the T-Rex. More about the Spino itself later. A lot of people hate the scene. They despise it at times, constantly saying that the T-Rex should have won. Oh, what was he doing and all? Was he just simply, like, nudging him? I'm just going to use this as reference. Was he just like, nom, nom, take that, ah, no, what? And, yeah, I guess the T-Rex probably would have won and all, but may I remind you that that thing was probably just simply doing it as a warning sign, like, yeah, get out of here, and the Spino was having none of it and just killed it off. And used those huge, gigantic claws and arms in order to help break its neck. It's not just its jaws that were able to do it. Considering the way how the T-Rex was able to, like, I gotcha, how do you like that? I think it was just simply trying to intimidate it to get away. May I remind you that they were trying to make this T-Rex a scavenger in the film. And that probably has something to do with it not being really strong enough in order to take it on. And it's not fully grown. And no, I don't think he was a junior. I don't think he was Junior from the Lost World. He's a complete stranger. So this guy does not really deserve your sympathy all the time and all. He deserves like, of course. All the dinosaurs in the series do. But all this, like, praise and stuff like that, and, like, Hugh, Screw, Spino kind of stuff, yeah, it just doesn't work, I'm afraid. And honestly, having the T-Rex, just like what the creator said, as the main evil one and all, like a big poster boy chasing everyone down, would be boring as all heck, and would just be like Lex Luthor and Superman, or yeah, in Superman movies, or the Joker and Batman, for example, using the same thing too many times to the point where it gets boring, or having Thomas as the main character in too much stuff, perhaps, or having him give too much screen time. And speaking of which, if you're saying I'm a hypocrite for thinking the Spino replacing the T-Rex in this film as the poster boy, even though it didn't last long, is kind of going against my whole thing of Nia and Rebecca replacing Edward and Henry, well, here's the thing. This is just simply for a film and all. Nia and Rebecca are whole different beasts, of course. Literally, because beast. Get it? Whatever. Not to mention that Nia and Rebecca are poorly developed characters, and Nia sticks out like a sore thumb. Meanwhile, the Spinosaurus has an excellent design, and now I might as well start talking about the Spino itself. Obviously, this toy does not look anything like it. It was not supposed to. But I love the Spino's design in this. It's so intimidating and just cool, and I love the way how they made it. Plus, they went through the effort of making sure it did not look like a monster, really, and more so like its own sort of thing. Even though it's inaccurate, but who cares? I love seeing it with such huge, long arms and a huge sail on its back, the long tail, the gravelly snout, and those piercing eyes. I love the way how it swims through the water and everything like that. In fact, we have that awesome action sequence in the rain. I love its roar. I love how it intimidates the characters, and I love it smashing through the fence. And as for the whole gate sequence and how it can't smash through the door and all, it just simply had enough power to barely get through the fence at full speed, and then now it slowed down and was slowly going after them after it was exhausted from breaking through the fence. and now it has to isolate its entire body strength into that one smaller area. With the fence, it's huge, and it's able to use its huge body mass to break it through. Meanwhile, it has to focus on a little door, and it's mostly just using its head. Plus, if you notice the type of door, even though it's wood and everything like that, I think, and very old and everything, it has those steel beams, and the way how it's built, if you look at the Shinobi 03 video on the film, it very much won't go anywhere, even with the big Spino head banging on the thing. Plus, it may be exhausted, like I said, from the fence. So, it's plausible. Plus, you have to keep in mention, when people are doing things, including animals, they're not always putting their full effort or energy into something. And sometimes just weird things happen. Like sometimes I may be able to pick up this Spino toy, but I may not be able to pick up a toothpick or something. I don't know. Don't think I can't pick up a toothpick, guys. Obviously I can. But yeah, weird things happen at times. But yeah, what else? Raptors are cool, and I love the darker tone of the film as well, and I like the action sequences. Udesky's sequence is pretty dang cool when he's getting killed off, even though it's quite saddening. By the way, rest in peace, the actor who played Mr. Udesky. And I love plenty of the other scenes and stuff like that, the bar scene at the restaurant or whatever. I do like that as well. Funny little thing and all. I was always excited whenever I saw Alan driving out of the driveway with his Aurora and everything, because we own 4 Auroras. One from Cali, one from Ohio, one that was the classic one we've had for decades, and the other one that was given to us by my dad's relatives, and a lot of them don't even work currently. One of them's in a garage with the door smashed, so we can't drive that. One of them's broken down, and the other one's mostly for parts. But yeah, enough about the whole Aurora thing. So yeah, a lot of dinos in this film, and I love the Spinosaurus, of course, as you can tell by my poster and everything. Or I'm sorry, no, channel banner. I wish you could see the whole thing. If only mobile YouTube and other stuff didn't cut off the whole thing. Just display the whole thing, and let us customize how we want to see channel banners and stuff like that. Come on, YouTube, stop restricting everything. Even on TV and I believe computer, you can't see the whole thing. Like, come on, that's so stupid. What else? The effects are also incredible. The practical effects are amazing. And Stan Winston's studio, the Spinosaurus animatronic, is so incredibly well made. It looks real and it looks amazing. It's a shame you didn't really get to see it used as much as it probably could have been. Though you did see a cool shot of the spinal claw smashing the T-Rex's face and all in the trailers. So that's pretty dang cool. And it was so powerful, at one point, it literally was able to take off the animatronic of the T-Rex's head. It literally took it off. And all the hydraulics and metal and beams and wiring, everything like that, literally were spilling out of like the T-Rex's head and neck or everything like that, like blood and guts. It's a shame no footage or like pictures or anything of this exist, because I would love to see this. That sounds amazing. It was, according to what people said, incredible to watch. Seeing like the Spino just rip the T-Rex's head off all of a sudden, because it was so powerful and strong. Wow. But yeah, the visual effects are also fine in places, but oftentimes really amazing looking. And the film can be a bit cheesy at times, but sometimes it's okay. But yeah, there's also the Spino backstory. We're going to have more about this. Later on it was revealed that, you know, it was illegally bred and everything like that by InGen. This was mentioned once in the film, but nothing was done about it, really. But there was, like, all this concept art of, like, a breeding station thing for the Spino and a, like, raising chamber thing and all, kind of shaped like a movie theater, all boxed in. Yeah, kind of interesting stuff about the creation of the Spino. And I wish we got to see more of it, because the Spino is awesome. So yeah, happy birthday, Jurassic Park 3. Despite your problems and all, and the fact that you kind of embarrassed the series and kind of killed it with a hammer until Jurassic World came back and revived it so hugely, I do have to thank you for giving us such awesome stuff, and honestly, you deserve more appreciation at times. So yeah, happy birthday, Jurassic Park 3. Oh.